Hi, I'm Greg from the Scary Spirits Podcast. Today I'm going to show you how to make the Samhain Cider, which is the featured cocktail in today's episode. So, we're going to start with our shaker with ice. To that, we're going to add 1.5 ounces whiskey, our second whiskey drink. Then we're going to add 1 ounce fresh squeezed lemon juice. Yes. Fresh squeezed. There we go. Next, we're going to add 1/2 ounce maple syrup. 1/2 ounce. Sure. Like so. Good stuff. Then we're going to shake. Next, we are going to strain into a tall glass. Next, we're going to add 1 dash vanilla bitters. There you go. And then we're going to fill the glass with hard cider. Oops. Yeah. Pretty good. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
This week's episode of the Scary Spirits Podcast, number 24, explores the 2007 film Trick or Treat. It's one of Greg's favorites. We can't talk about this film without discussing Sam, a creepy little dude who wears an orange onesie and covers his head with a burlap sack. He is the one common element in the intertwining stories in the film. He watches intensely as each of the stories unfolds, every one more disturbing than the last. But who is Sam? It is said he is the keeper of Halloween traditions. And trust us when we say you want to keep up those Halloween traditions. No one wants to tangle with Sam on Halloween night. We hope you enjoy our discussion of the movie Trick or Treat. And a little piece of advice here. Always keep your jack-o'-lantern lit past midnight. Cheers.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So if you're ready, let's go. I'm Greg,
Hi, I'm Karen.
and welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
We're about to find out.
Yes, we are. This could be a cluster. I don't know.
How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm okay.
We're back to okay.
Back
I think
to
we
okay.
we peaked with good. As
Yeah.
long as we don't plummet, I think we're okay.
So, Karen, I believe this film was my choice. Was it? Was it not?
Yes, it was your choice.
And we are into October now. Are we? Are we not?
Yay, we are.
October. Oh, what a month. So, Karen, the film I have chosen is the film Trick or Treat, copyright 2007, but not released until 2009.
Aren't you going to ask me if I remember 2009?
Do you remember 2009, Karen?
I do, but not as fondly as the 80s.
Yeah, I don't remember 2009. I couldn't tell you anything that happened in 2009. Just one of those. It's a
Little past the glory years at that point, but
it's just another year. Karen, might you have a brief synopsis of the 2007 film Trick or Treat you would like to share with us?
I do.
Well, please go on.
Interwoven stories demonstrate that some traditions are best not forgotten as the residents of a small town face real ghosts and goblins on Halloween. Tales of terror reveal the consequences of extinguishing a jack-o'-lantern before midnight and a grumpy hermit's encounter with a sinister trick-or-treater.
Yes. Speaking of small towns, Karen, do you know where this film occurs?
In Ohio,
It is
I know that, and I wrote it down somewhere.
Warren Valley, Ohio.
Warren Valley.
Yes, it's in the
It's
beginning.
not a real place, is it?
Not a real place, fictional town, but still Ohio.
So it could have been in our backyard
Could have been.
when we
Should
were
have been.
growing up. No, it shouldn't.
I want to live in this town.
Really?
They do this thing every year, Halloween. People in the streets.
Yeah, I'm not
partying.
going to spoil it, but I will. By the end, I might
want to
explain
live in this town.
why you shouldn't live in this town.
Okay.
We'll discuss later. So, why did you pick this movie?
Because it's awesome.
Okay, that's fair enough. I accept that as a reason. But it's
Yeah.
one of your favorites.
It is one of my favorites. No other reason than it's October. And this is my favorite Halloween film.
Well, that's very appropriate.
It
I
is.
don't remember it being in theaters.
It was not.
Oh, okay.
It went direct to DVD or video.
Really?
Yes.
It seems too good for that.
I know.
That's odd.
Copyright 2007, release in 2009.
Oh,
They
because
kept pushing
never-
it back. And then they finally said, screw it. And leadership changes at the movie studio, and they just decided to go direct to video. So
Huh.
I kind of have a feeling it would have done good in a theater.
Well,
I think they
especially
could release this every year and it would do well in a theater.
well, it's a cult film
in
now,
October.
right?
Yeah.
Kind of. Well, not all cult films are good. The acting in it is good. So, but I don't remember it. I've never seen it. Greg has seen it. How many times would you guess?
Well, it came out in 2009 on video, and it's 2021 now. So
At
figure
least once a year.
So there you go. But watching it again, there was stuff I was like, I don't remember that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what drink did you
So I've
choose to
seen it
go
at
with
least
it?
10 times for sure. So the drink that I have chosen for today's episode, Karen, is called the Samhain Cider.
And what do you need to make it?
So, Karen, we're going to need 1.5 ounces of whiskey. I used Maker Mark again. Did you use your Buffalo Trace or Four Roses or whatever the hell?
It's Woodford Reserve. Thank you
Woodford
very much.
Reserve, yes. We're going to
Fancy.
need 1 ounce, yes, fancy. 1 ounce freshly squeezed lemon juice.
Which I did, and you used from 84.
Oh, from 2021.
Okay. The plastic lemon.
Plastic lemon from 2021, yeah.
Okay.
1/2 ounce maple syrup.
This is where mine's a little embarrassing. I used Mrs. Butterworth's.
I used Canadian maple
Yeah.
syrup.
Nice, but I didn't have fancy syrup. So,
And then 1 drop of vanilla bitters, I'm calling it, and hard cider as well. Would you like to know how to make it, Karen?
absolutely.
All right. In a cocktail shaker with ice, we're going to add the whiskey,
lemon juice, and maple syrup. Shake it up. Then we strain into a tall glass. I used a Collins glass.
Me
Then
too.
we add the vanilla bitters and top it off with the hard cider. Doesn't say to add ice to the glass, but Karen's a rebel.
Or a wimp, one of the two. I like mine watered down.
And there you have the Samhain cider.
Okay, everybody, race to your refrigerator and get started.
Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Karen, any corrections, omissions, anything we need to cover that you know of from last week's episode?
I'm sure there are many, but
The hell was last week's? Oh, Horror of Dracula, right?
I think the alcohol makes us forget them all by the end.
Yeah, Horror of Dracula. I think we're pretty on point with that one.
Sure, let's go with that.
I don't remember anything that we could have messed up. I mean, Sir Christopher Lee.
With its 8 lines.
More than that.
Not many.
All right. Are we ready to get into Trick or Treat?
Let's go.
All right. So
Well, wait.
we're going to do this a little different, Karen.
Right. And Greg has, as we've covered, Greg has seen this many times and I have not.
Yes.
So bear with me as I try to keep up with this narration he's going to do.
Yes. So as I've said, I really like this film. And if anyone listening, any of our 37 or 8 listeners who haven't, if you haven't watched it yet, stop right now and watch it.
Oh, the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Our 30 listeners. You're getting cocky.
37 or 38, I said. So this is a horror anthology, correct, Karen? Is that what you would call it?
Yes, I would.
A non-linear horror anthology. So there are multiple stories, but you jump around in the film from story to story, and they all intertwine at one point or another.
And they do bounce around a little bit in time too.
Yes.
Which makes it a little harder.
So I think we're going to try to tackle each story on their own. We'll see how this goes. All right, Karen. So the film opens, correct?
As films do, yes.
Yes.
It opens with a trick or treat safety film.
Yes. Halloween safety film. It kind of follows the rules of Halloween, don't go to strangers' houses, so on and so forth, right?
Never go out alone.
Yes.
But it's a kind of older film. And one of the
Yes.
things I noticed in it, and you will probably remember this, are the old costumes that were plastic faces.
Yes.
And they had a little bit of elastic and it went around your
Yes.
face and it had holes for eyes,
Yes.
nostril holes, and the
Yes.
tiniest
Which
little
were
slit.
worthless. Yes.
Yes. And a tiniest little slit for your mouth. And
Yes.
I remember mine, the one I had, it was a princess costume.
One? You had one?
One. Yeah. Because most of the time my mom made them because there were
Okay.
5 of us.
Well,
You can't
good.
buy 5 of those, but
You probably didn't like the ones your mom made, did you? You wanted to buy the shitty plastic one, didn't
we
you?
did, but
With the smock.
it didn't matter. But the reason I remember it was a light blue dress with lots of glitter on it. It was the itchiest thing ever. They were just terrible costumes. But yeah, we wanted them bad. There was superheroes. It was a
Yes.
blonde princess. I bet there's a picture somewhere to see if I can find
I'm
it.
sure there is.
Did you have one?
I had several. Yeah, I had an Evil Knievel one.
Oh, what did it have, a jumpsuit?
Well, yeah, they all had jumpsuits. They're all smocks, but it was I had like a helmet with a face in it, like the mask.
Nice. You had to have Batman. Did you not have Batman?
I don't think I did. Like who was the company that made those stupid things? Morris? No, I don't know.
I don't know, but they were terrible and itchy. That is the main thing I remember, is they were itchy and you couldn't breathe.
Yes,
Anyway, number 1 rule was never go out alone on the film.
that's right. Ben Cooper. That's who was the big costume maker back in the day. Ben Cooper.
Well, Ben went for the cheapest materials possible. They were probably
Yeah.
totally flammable.
Yeah, they totally were. And you couldn't see shit. So they were not safe at all.
but
Couldn't
whatever.
see and you couldn't
But
breathe.
we all survived, didn't we, Karen?
Well, we did.
Right. Then we see a pumpkin jack-o'-lantern and the camera zooms out.
Yeah, I think
Right.
we're in present day now.
Yes. And we see a girl with a pumpkin in a wagon pulling it, which comes in later.
Yes.
And we hear the girls in the car, which come in later.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, there's a couple coming home from the Halloween festivities. So
Which are a
basically, it
big deal in
starts
this
at the-
town.
yes.
Yeah.
The film basically starts at the end of the evening. Yes.
It seems to, yes.
It does.
But it's
And-
not midnight yet.
Oh, I don't know if it is or not.
No, I know it's not. Okay, well, they argue, and she says she wants to take down all the decorations. And she says she hates Halloween, which
Yes.
I'm stunned by, because who would hate Halloween? And
Her.
everyone in the town decorates.
Yes.
So she obviously isn't from this town, it seems like, because she says her mom's coming to visit in the morning and would freak out if she saw all this stuff. So it seems like they're imports.
Maybe.
He's into it. She isn't.
Well, he's into other things as well. So,
Well, he's frisky, wants
yeah,
to
he wants to go
finish
inside
the
and-
evening. Yeah.
have a happy ending. He wants a happy ending to the evening. Correct.
Yeah. So he goes and puts a videotape in a videotape player.
She relents. At first, she doesn't want to do it, but she relents and tells him to go on in and put on the tape. And he puts in a tape called Nature Special, is what it's labeled.
Yeah.
It's a porn film, correct, Karen?
Yeah. But she's cleaning up the yard. And then there's a kid across the street that's staring at her really creepily.
And we see two bare breasts in the porn film.
Okay. I don't think it cuts to the porn film yet. It's still her cleaning up the yard.
Yeah, but I do have a note about the kid in the white mask.
Yeah. It was creepy. He's like just staring straight at her.
Yeah, but his friends come pick him up, so he's harmless.
Right.
Then we see two bare breasts in the video.
Well, something jumps her and she screams. Then we see the bare breast because he thinks it's the screaming on the porn film, but really it's her screaming. So they're screaming on the film and they're screaming in the front yard, and he thinks they're both the film.
Yes.
But yes,
So
she's being attacked in her front yard under a sheet. So they're not showing anything.
no.
She's just rolling around kind of in a sheet until there's a whack. And then you see that she is no more under the sheet because there's
Yeah.
blood all over the sheet.
There is blood splatters all over the sheet. Of course, I know it's Sam, but
Yeah.
we don't see Sam yet, correct?
No.
So then there's ant races on the TV.
The film is over.
Is that what we call it? Ant races?
Yeah. And he seemed like he was asleep maybe well, I don't know. I thought
He
he
was.
kind of groggy and he realizes the film's over and he reaches over and Emma's not there. So he goes to look for her.
Goes to find her. And he does.
Yeah, he's calling for her. He's looking around, and what they have in their front yard are a lot of 2x4s and such covered in sheets. So they
Yeah.
look like ghosts.
Scarecrow's kind of covered in sheets to look
Yeah.
like this.
She was pulling all the sheets off. So one of the sheets now is lit up a little bit like a pumpkin or something, and he pulls it off and it's her head. But what's in her mouth?
A sucker, a lollipop.
Oh, see, I didn't know what that was. Okay. It's a big one. It's one of the really big suckers.
And then we have credits.
Yes.
But they're not regular credits, Karen, are they?
No, they're comic book type credits.
Correct. And we kind of are introduced to all the characters in the comic book still.
I didn't notice that until
We are.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this
Makes
is where-
sense. Yeah.
And in one of the comic book scenes, it says Warren Valley, Ohio. So that's how we know it's in Warren
Right.
Valley, Ohio.
That's where I wrote it down. It is
Yep.
Warren, but yeah.
And there are scenes from stories in the movie during the credits.
I did not notice that.
Well, you didn't know.
Well,
There were
right.
Scenes.
Exactly. Because I hadn't seen it. So I guess that is something you would only get on the second view.
Yes. So we're going to call the pre-story story A. Let's call it opening story.
Okay. With Emma. Can't believe you didn't know that one.
So next story we're going to do is a story we will call Principal. Okay.
Okay. All right. But there is a reporter at the parade reporting that they're in Warren Valley, Ohio, and they really take this shit seriously. And
Yes.
every year she says they have strange traditions. but that's where you're physically introduced to the town, and that it's a big deal, and they have a lot of strange traditions.
Yep.
Okay.
So the principal story starts with a kid dragging a bag or a pillowcase basically down a sidewalk.
Well, it's his trick-or-treat candy holder.
Yeah.
Did you use a pillowcase?
I did.
Yeah, we did too.
And as he's walking, he kind of runs into a lot of the characters we see later.
He does.
And then we see him later knocking pumpkins off of fences.
Yeah, which I called a dick move.
He comes to a house and there's a sign that says, sorry, not home right now. Here's candy. Take one piece.
And does he take one piece?
No, he sits down and takes the whole thing.
Which is another dick move.
It is.
At this point, I'm not feeling sorry for this dude.
Charlie.
So
the guy who owns the house comes home and we learn that it is the school principal.
We learn it later, but yeah. So he walks up and tells Charlie to sit down, and he makes him sit down on the stairs. And I thought it was strange until later when you find out he's the principal. Of course, the kid would listen to the principal and do what he said. Because if it was some random dude, you wouldn't have to listen necessarily.
No, you'd be kind of creeped out, I think.
Right.
But principal sits down and begins carving a pumpkin while he's talking to Charlie. And he kind of starts telling Charlie all about the, Halloween and traditions of Halloween and why we celebrate it, things like that.
Yeah, it's about respecting the dead. Yeah.
It kind of goes over a little bit of the rules that you're supposed to do.
Well, he notices Charlie's shoes are covered in pumpkin guts. So he busts him for knocking off and smashing the jack-o'-lanterns and stealing candy. He mentions the traditions were started to protect them, but now no one cares. But originally the costumes and the jack-o'-lanterns and all those things were for protection.
Yep. I can't do this without spoiling everything.
Well, Charlie starts choking.
Yeah.
Or puking. I couldn't tell. Was he poisoned or was there something? And the principal says, always check your candy.
So yes, the principal says, always check your candy.
Yeah. So what's in it? Is it poison?
Poison. Yeah.
Because in other candy bars, knives show up and all kinds of crazy stuff. So I don't know.
Yes.
And so Charlie vomits blood,
Yep.
Lots and lots of blood.
And chunks of other stuff.
Yes, projectile style. And the man just smiles.
Basically, he collapses, and then Principal Wilkins is his name, drags him into the house.
Yeah. Is he dead or is he still puking?
He's still kind of spitting up stuff, but he's pretty well done because the principal ends up with blood all over his shirt because he keeps spitting up shit. And there's a knock at the door. There's trick-or-treaters who are kids we will see later.
Yes. And he answers the door covered in blood.
But they think it's all, a costume or whatever.
Yeah, they scream and then they laugh. They're just pretending.
And he gives them candy.
They say, great costume, Mr. Wilkins.
And then after they leave, there's another kid there with a burlap mask on.
Right. But they ask him for his lantern for a scavenger hunt.
For his jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then one of the kids, the pirate, I think, notices the blood trail.
He does.
Into the house. He sort of is uncomfortable. And then the principal says, Happy Halloween, very menacingly. And then the kids leave. And yes, a small child in a burlap mask is standing there after they leave.
Candy as well.
Yeah. And he runs off. The little kid runs off.
Yes. Next in the principal story, we see him in the backyard burying someone.
He walks through his house and he's got all these poisons on the table.
Yes.
And he grabs a meat cleaver and goes out to his pre-dug grave.
Yes.
And here's a question I have. Is there already a body in it?
There is.
Okay.
It's not Charlie. It's a kid in a clown costume.
Okay.
He ain't quite dead yet, apparently.
There's also another one deep in the grave.
Yeah.
Not the one he's dumping in. There's one already down there.
Yeah. Yes.
And that person's gone. Yes?
Yeah.
Is that why it smells so bad? Was that the
Probably.
previous Halloween or something? See,
Or
I have
the night
questions.
before. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Who knows?
Okay. And he's about to dump the body into the pre-dug grave when
His son calls from the window. Are you going to take me to the Halloween parade? I'm back from trick-or-treating. And he tells him to shut up and watch Charlie Brown.
the little kid says, Charlie Brown's an asshole, which
Yes.
I don't really get that, but why you got to dig on Charlie Brown?
And there's a dog barking from next door.
Yeah. So he dumps whoever it is into the grave and starts to cover it in dirt, but the dog is growling and barking. So what's he do?
He cuts the finger off whoever he's burying and throws it next door for the dog to keep him amused for a while.
And I said, it seems like CSI could track that. That's going to come back later.
Well, it won't matter.
No.
Then the old man neighbor comes out.
Yeah, his neighbor calls for the dog. What's the dog's name? Spike?
Spike.
And the principal jumps down and hides in the grave.
Tells the neighbor he's working on the septic tank or whatever. The neighbor says, well, fix it. It smells like a dead whore out here.
Yes, he does. But whoever he's trying to bury isn't quite dead yet.
No, yeah. So he keeps kicking him and knocking the kid or whatever.
Yeah. So does he finally kill whoever he's trying to?
He does. And his son yells from the window that wants to carve the jack-o'-lantern, but he needs help with the eyes.
Yes.
And as the principal is walking back to the house, we see the old man neighbor banging on his window, screaming help.
Yeah. And the principal does plant a tree on the grave. And then he looks and sees the neighbor saying, help me, help me. And he says, screw you, and goes inside. Yeah. And then you see someone tackle that person in the window.
Yes, which will come up later. So then the principal and his son go downstairs to start carving the jack-o'-lantern. And the principal has a large knife.
Yeah, which he's hiding behind his
back.
back. Let's go downstairs. He takes his hand. He's a little kid. How old would you say he is? 5?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
And they're going downstairs very happily. And the principal is hiding the knife.
Yeah.
And I'm getting very nervous at this point.
Yes, as they want you to.
And Billy wants to carve a scary face this time. And I wrote down, it really
he says, let's carve a scary face this time.
And I wrote down, is Dad really going to stab his kid?
Dad brings up the knife.
Right.
And brings it down.
And you hear it squish into something.
Yeah. It says, don't forget to help me with the eyes. He lovingly puts his hand on his son's head, and son says,
and he shows the kid how to hold a knife properly.
Yeah, puts the knife in his hand, wraps his fingers around it.
And then we see Charlie's head on a Lazy Susan.
Yes.
So that's going to be their jack-o'-lantern, which was pretty gross. And he's raising a 5-year-old to be adept at this.
Raising a serial killer.
Yeah, that was pretty creepy because the kid's very small and obviously been doing this for years.
I'm calling that the end of the principal story, although it may not be.
For now.
Yeah.
All right. So where do we go next?
Next, we're going to the costume shop.
Okay. The costume shop with the 4 pretty girls.
Yeah, I'm going to call this story Anna Becomes a Woman. So
because it's Anna Paquin?
Yeah. So you watched True Blood, right, Karen?
Yes, I did.
I did not.
I love that.
Can't afford that HBO and all that stuff. So I've heard that Anna Paquin was in True Blood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She won an Oscar for The Piano, the movie, I think. And she's been in some, is it Marvel movies too? Well, she was in The Piano when she was a very young girl. So this is not her first film by any stretch.
The Piano was her first film, actually, in 1993. And she was in X-Men before this, X2, X-Men Last Stand. So she was in lots of things before this, a lot more than she's been in since. So anyway, this story I'm calling, as I said, Anna Becomes a Woman. So we see a bunch of girls in a costume shop trying on costumes.
Yeah, they're in adjoining changing rooms.
And a boy is peeping.
Yeah, it's a little boy.
That little boy also plays Sam in this film.
Oh, does he?
He does.
Okay.
The same actor plays the peeping Tommy, they call him, and Sam.
So he plays Sam as an actor. This boy does not become Sam.
He does not, no.
Okay. All right. Just want to clear that up for anybody. But yeah, they're in 4 adjoining changing rooms and they're putting on, as Halloween always brings out, the sexy something costume, right?
Yep.
And
Sexy
yes,
Snow White, whatever.
Yeah, they're all fairy tale characters.
The sexy little Bo Peep, which is interesting.
In what way? Did it punch a button there?
No, I'm just saying,
And we hear they're talking to each other while they're trying on costumes, and they're talking about, Halloween's previous. And one girl says she had a bad Mexican.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get that until you just said it.
See,
Yes.
and another one had a
Yeah.
sailor, but it turns out she was a girl. And she said she does have a nice ass, but they all taste good to me.
They all taste the same, is what she said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't get that either. And then the
Yep.
mom of the little boy busts the little boy and tells the girls there's children in here.
Yep. So
Because
then
they were talking a little crude.
and Anna comes out and she's Little Red Riding Hood, but she's not really a sexy Little Red Riding Hood.
No,
she?
I called it a modest Little Red Riding Hood.
Yes. And so they go to pay for their costumes, and Danielle, who is
I called her Cinderella.
Cinderella, flirts with the guy at the checkout counter, and
I just said
him,
she picks up the cashier.
she invites him to a party later that evening at Sheep's Meadow. Right, Karen?
Yep. They're all going to Sheep's Meadow.
Sheep's Meadow.
Bo Peep's taking them to Sheep's Meadow.
Yes. Next, we see the girls in the town, and they bump into the couple from the opening scene.
They do. They're walking on the sidewalk and they're making fun of Anna for still being a virgin at 22.
Yes.
And they bump into the couple. And I was like, is this a time hop to before that couple gets home?
Yes.
That's what I wrote. So yes, it is.
And, the other girls had to find dates to the party as well. So two of them go to the news crew.
Right.
And pick up on the two camera guys. They say, that's some big equipment you got there. Right?
Yeah. After Anna says she wants her first time to be special.
Yes.
Yeah. But they go to the TV van to pick up the dudes. They're drinking in the van. And I just said, this is very unsafe.
Right. So next, the girls are all in the news van with the news guys. And is the costume checkout get dude in there too?
No, he was going to meet them later.
Okay, but they're all like drinking.
Right.
Getting ready to go to Sheep's Meadow, Karen.
But Anna stays behind.
Anna says, yeah, I'll find someone and I'll meet you later.
So then she is alone on the street, and it's just every time she sees someone, she thinks, oh, that would be a good one. They couple up. It's almost
couple
like
up, or it's a chick that couples up still. So
yeah, they all couple up. They all have someone with them. So she's looking for a mate sitting on a bench, and her phone rings. But right as she gets that call,
well, we should say that before her phone rings, we see a guy in an alley with a girl.
Well, that's the scene where I don't know where to put it.
It could go several places. Yeah.
So is this where you want to put it?
Well, I'm going to mention it now. Yeah. So we see a guy in an alley with a girl.
It's a couple. They're making out in an alley.
Making out, right? And the guy bites the girl. He has fangs.
Well, he pins her to the wall, and he kind of sounds like a demon. He's growling, and I thought he gutted her because all of a sudden she looks down and there's blood everywhere.
Blood everywhere. No, he bit her on the jugular pretty much.
Yeah. You see he's a vampire, and she's trapped. She tries to run out of the alley, and it's a dead end.
She runs into the town, and she asks the couple from the opening scene for help.
Yeah, she grabs the leg of the woman, I think.
Yeah, Emma.
Yeah. And Henry, Emma's husband, just says, she's just drunk. Don't worry about it.
Basically, she just ends up sitting on the ground on the sidewalk, and she just sits there and bleeds out, right?
Well, he puts her there.
Yeah.
He closes her eyes. So he puts her next to a bunch of other people that are kind of drunk and sort of passed out there.
Right.
It's where they all line him up. And he leaves her on the street, bloody and dead, but she looks drunk.
Correct.
But he's got quite a fancy kind of vampire costume on. He's got a mask, very bright blue eyes, a cape, kind of the old-fashioned count looking vampire, I would say.
And we see Anna looking for a date. And like you said, she keeps seeing people, but they're all coupling up. Well, sister calls and says she's got a guy there for her, but yeah, he's...
Well, she asks if he's cute, and her sister says he's nice.
Yeah.
And she says, so that means he's hideous or something.
He is.
It's her big sister, who called her and says, just get to the party.
Right.
She looks up and sees the vampire there right in front of her.
They make eye contact, but next we see Anna walking through a jack-o'-lantern lit path through the woods.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool looking.
Yeah, it was. So I think she's going to the party at Sheep's Meadow, Karen.
Yes.
And then we see
The guy from the alley is there.
Well, she's walking along and there's some froggy's fog. It's creepy, and she keeps hearing branches snap behind her. So he is not a good follower.
No.
He's making a ton of noise.
Yeah.
And she just finally says, I'm not in the mood for this shit. Just come out.
Yep.
And he does.
And he looks like he bites her, right? Well, he does bite her.
And the big sister's getting nervous. Like, where is she? Where is she?
We cut back to the scene of the party, and the girl says she'll be fine. And then the big sister Danielle says, no, Mom always says she was the runt of the litter.
Yeah, I wrote that down, even though I didn't know what it meant. And then they cut to, and then the vampire's licking her neck, which was very freaky and gross. And I said, that sounds like the principal, and he pins her against a tree, and he's just a douche. What big eyes you have.
Yes.
Which is the Red Riding Hood reference.
Then we cut back to the party, right, Karen?
Yeah. And I was like, is this almost all women there? Because there's a bonfire, and you see all the girls, but you don't see many of the guys.
Well, they're sitting there or laying there.
Well, but they're not. I thought it was all women. So I thought, oh, these are witches, because there's a fire and they're in a circle. And I'm like, okay, I thought I had it figured out. Right. These guys are witches, But
then a body falls from the trees,
wrapped up in Anna's
Red Riding Hood's cape.
Yeah.
And Danielle, the older sister, goes and looks and
doesn't show you who it is at first.
No.
Yeah.
But it's not Anna.
No, it's not.
So we see it's the vampire dude, right?
Which was a nice twist. I did not see that coming.
And then Anna walks in after they show it's the vampire guy. Then Anna arrives.
He's still alive because he's pleading for help at this point.
He's pleading for help.
I was so, he already killed one girl, and
really, one girl.
Well, okay, I did it as the vampire that we see. He's killed a girl, and he's pleading for help. And I was thinking, let him bleed out.
They take his mask off.
Yeah, and they pry his mouth open and take his teeth.
Yeah. And one of the girls asks him his name. And turns out it's Principal Wilkins, right?
It is Principal Wilkins. And Anna says she's glad he's her first.
He has a fractured leg or something. They show like a...
Yeah, she hurt him bad.
Yeah, what's it called when the bone punctures the skin, Karen? Do you know, Dr. Karen?
It's called a bad wound.
Okay.
It's a clean break. Like it's broken and protruding the bone. I said there's a circle of dead or almost dead men. And I don't know if you saw this, because this comes from, again, another story. There's the hot dog costume there. So Coach Taylor's there.
Yes, he is.
I don't remember which vignette he's from, but
he's from the children trick-or-treaters.
Okay.
Vignette.
So Coach Taylor isn't going to make it.
No. And we hear the song Sweet Dreams.
Yes.
It sounded like Marilyn Manson. I think it was.
Could have been. Would have been a good fit.
Pretty sure it was Marilyn Manson. Yep, Marilyn Manson.
Well, Anna's nervous. It's her first time, and they dance around the fire, and I'm still thinking
they're witches.
They're witches. and then I thought, no, they're vampires, because their teeth start to come out, and they all strip.
Yes. We see 2 more bare breasts, Karen.
And then if you watch Supernatural, they all start ripping off their meat suits. So
I don't watch Supernatural. So
they call, when they possess someone, they call the person they're wearing their meat suit.
Oh. So basically we have a transformation scene, and they all basically peel off their skin.
Yeah. And then I wrote werewolves ? Because I went from witches to vampires, and now I'm thinking, okay, werewolves.
Yep.
And basically they eat the guys. I mean, it's quite sensual. I mean, it's a very sexy scene. And right before Anna kills Principal Wilkins, she does burn him with the same line he said to her when he thought he was going to kill her. She says to him, my, what big eyes you have.
She does. And
then there's wolf howls.
Yep. And that's the end of that story.
But Sam's watching the massacre. The little kid with the burlap mask is watching this.
Yeah.
And then there's a full red moon.
Yeah. Sam.
So I don't get why he's there, but
He's everywhere.
I know, but okay.
So the next story we're going to call Halloween Bus Massacre.
Halloween Bus Massacre. Okay.
That's what Wikipedia calls it. So that's what I'm going to call it.
I called it the trick-or-treating kids.
That's what I refer to them. So we've already seen these trick-or-treater kids go to the principal's house once.
And ask for the jack-o'-lantern.
Correct. But then we see them again and they go to another house, and apparently there's an adult party going on when they get there.
Not apparently. There is an adult part. A very drunk woman answers the door.
In a cat costume.
Yeah. She might be a tad old for the costume. I mean, I'm all about wear whatever you want. I don't give a shit what you wear, but she is handing candy out to the kids and they were a little repulsed by it. But yeah,
they were very interested in what was going on inside the house.
It was basically an orgy.
Oh, you don't see anything. It's
a
guy
dark.
in a hot dog costume with a pig. I don't know.
Well, yeah. So they ask for the jack-o'-lantern and she lets them have it. They take it and she says, watch out for monsters. And then the pirate dude says, he's the littlest kid.
Yeah.
And pardon my language here, but he says, Coach Taylor was in a hot dog costume, butt fucking a pig.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the girls says, people in this town go crazy at Halloween. Well, then a kid comes up with the shopping cart. He joins them. He's in a skeleton mask.
He is.
And he's got some jack-o'-lanterns in the cart.
And they go to a house which is full of jack-o'-lanterns. The yard is, right?
Yeah.
And that is who we learn is Rhonda's house. The idiot savant, they call her. What's an idiot savant, Karen?
It usually means you're a little limited in your abilities, but in one particular thing you excel. Sometimes it's playing the piano, sometimes it's mathematics, sometimes it's just say you have one special talent that you're exceptional at. I mean, exceptional, like you can recite the dictionary or something, or play the piano or something incredible, but the rest of your skills, as measured, say in normal academic circumstances, wouldn't be quite up to par.
The rest of all your skills?
Kind of. Usually it's one skill that they can't explain why you have that exceptional skill when the
kind of like Rain Man. You drop a thing of coffee stirs and he can count them like that.
Yes, exactly. I'm sure there's a different term than idiot savant at this point.
Well, that's what they call it.
That's what they say in here.
And this girl seems a little socially awkward, but I didn't.
Right. But she
seemed okay.
She seems smart about the traditions and things, but maybe it's art because all of those jack-o'-lanterns were carved precisely and very well done. So it could be something like that. She could be an artist or something.
Or history or whatever.
I don't know. And they could be wrong about their kids. So they're probably making fun of her anyway. Well, they are.
Bitches.
Yes. This story pissed me off.
Yep,
this one,
as they do.
You know.
And
but she's there dressed as a witch and she has a ton of beautiful jack-o'-lanterns in her yard.
And the guy asks, hey, did you make all these yourself? She says, yeah, I made my costume too. You like it?
Yeah, she's shy. And obviously this kid, Schrader is his name. And he's a handsome, probably popular kid talking to her.
He's like the middle school jock kid, right?
Yeah. But he's being nice to her.
He is. Yeah, I feel bad for him in the end.
Yeah.
Not the others, but him, I do. And then she starts to explain to them about Samhain.
Yeah, so Schrader uses his charms because the one girl who is a total bitch, Macy, says, you're on, Schrader. And he talks
Macy
to her.
In the angel costume.
Yes.
She was a cute little girl. I'll say that.
But an awful human being in this story.
Yeah, she plays an awful human being.
Yes, she does. That's what I mean. She acts. She does well. She does it well. She's very convincing in there. But now Rhonda has joined them and she talks about Samhain to the pirate boy, that the barrier between the living and the dead is thinnest and the pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns will protect you and all of those important details.
Correct. And they end up at a rock quarry.
At a cliff's edge.
Yeah, with all their pumpkins.
Yes.
Or jack-o'-lanterns, technically. And Macy the angel, I wrote.
Yes. Says they're there to pay their respects to the dead.
Yes, and she starts telling them about the Halloween school bus massacre. Tells them all the story, all about it.
Yeah, so there's Froggy's Fog, and we kind of go back in time. We visualize the story as she's telling it.
Yes.
So they're showing it with her voice.
Yep.
Saying what's happening.
Apparently there was a short bus full of kids.
Yeah, it's a bus filled with troubled kids.
Special kids, whatever.
8 troubled kids, yeah.
8 of them. And
it goes the same route every day.
Right. But on the side of the bus, Karen, I made a note. It says Happy Shepherd Academy.
Yeah, I saw that.
So we got sheeps and shepherds.
Yep.
Yeah, and one of the kids, and they pass Sam as she's telling the story.
Yes.
They're driving along and they pass Sam.
They're all in costume. These 8 kids are on this particular day, which is Halloween afternoon. It's afternoon. They're all in very creepy costumes, I think.
Costumes back in the day were creepy. Your princess costume was creepy, Karen.
No, it wasn't. It was beautiful. Yeah. So the bus driver takes a different route on that day, and that's when they pass Sam. And this is the saddest part, is when the OCD kid knows that they're taking a different route.
Yeah. Wrong way.
He's in the vampire mask, and he's just kind of rocking and saying,
counting. He's like
wrong way,
reciting the house numbers as they're driving, and then they make a wrong turn. And he starts saying, wrong way. I want to go home. Sad. I want to go home.
And the bus crashes through the gate at the rock quarry.
But we should say these kids' parents arranged for this shit to happen.
That's what she says, that they were sick of these kids and how much work they were, which is horrible.
Yes.
This is the saddest story.
So they paid the bus driver to take them to the rock quarry, right?
Yes. The parents paid the bus driver to drug the kids and kill them, basically.
Yeah.
Because he gives them candy first. And I think it's drugged candy, but I'm not.
And they're all chained to their seats in the bus.
Yeah. Were those supposed to be seat belts?
No, they're just chained to this.
Oh, I guess so they don't get up and walk around.
So they don't get out when it goes into the water. That's what it's for.
Well, in this story, yes, but they would have been used to it. I thought they were,
I don't know,
seat belts. And then it was probably to keep them in their seats while the bus was moving on the other days.
Maybe. He probably explained to them that. I'm sure they were not chained to their seats every day.
I don't know, because if those kids
That's
might
a safety
get up,
issue. What if they wreck? They couldn't get out.
But it's a safety issue for them not to have some sort of restraint, because they would get up and move around. The story is kind of, they can't listen to instruction. Whatever, it doesn't matter. They're chained in.
Yeah.
But the vampire kid,
he just has shackles on his wrist.
Yeah. And he slips his restraints.
And he wants to go home. So he decides, I'm just going to drive home. So he gets in the driver's seat. Of course, he don't know how to drive a car.
Well, he's freaking out. And so he's like, I want to go home. So he jumps in the driver's seat and tries to drive home.
And they go over the cliff with the bus driver in there with them.
But I think the bus driver's on the ground and hits the gas with his hand, doesn't he? To make them go over. Because he puts it in gear because it's a stick.
Yes, the kid does.
So the kid, I thought the bus driver did.
I assumed the kid did. I
How would he
thought
know?
This was all the kid.
I don't know. He wouldn't know how to do that. You'd have to push in the clutch and all that stuff. I think the bus driver does it.
Maybe he
doesn't
did,
matter.
He's not chained in and he figures he might be able to get out. I don't know. But he was going to do it anyway.
Right.
The bus driver was going to put a brick on the speedometer or on the pedal or whatever. And
they were going over the cliff no matter what.
They were going over the cliff.
This was incredibly sad. They drive off the cliff.
Yeah.
Into the water.
Macy, the angel, says that the bus driver was never heard from again. And the bus is still down there. And so are those kids. So she says they're going to go down there. They have 8 jack-o'-lanterns. There was 8 kids, 8 jack-o'-lanterns. They're going to go down there and pay tribute.
Leave them by the
dead.
side of the lake,
right.
They said. Yeah.
They take an elevator to the bottom of the quarry. It can only hold 3 at a time.
Macy's annoyed that Schrader compliments Rhonda. I don't remember what he said. But he said something nice to her again before they go down the elevator. So the pirate, the little kid, and Rhonda have to stay at the top, and they're going to send the keys back up.
Correct.
And they have to bring the rest of the jack-o'-lanterns.
Right. And then there's a wolf howl from the other story, and it
Yeah, and Rhonda
ties
says,
into this one.
Rhonda says werewolves, and the elevator's back.
Yeah, elevator's back, and Rhonda and the pirate kid go down.
Yeah, they ride the elevator down.
And as they're going down, the other kids are screaming, and their jack-o'-lanterns go out one by one.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, actually.
But Rhonda doesn't seem to be too afraid.
Well, but she is afraid. But she
tells the kid to stay there, and she goes.
But she protects the little kid and says, the candles in the jack-o'-lanterns will protect you. Stay in here. And she goes out to try to save the other kids, is what she's doing.
And as she walks out there, she sees the bus sticking out of the water.
Yeah, there's froggy's fog everywhere, and leaves are falling, and it's windy.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah, it is dark. It's hard to see it.
And then she starts seeing the masks of her quote unquote friends.
Yes.
In the water.
Floating in the water.
Yeah.
And she keeps going, which I thought was impressive.
And she reaches in to grab one of the masks out of the water. Is that what she does?
Yeah, Schrader's mask.
Yeah, and hands come up from the ground and grab her.
Yeah, something grabs her ankle.
And she runs away and she drops her glasses. And then she's
chased. So
there's
the zombies come out of the water and she sees them eating the pirate kid. And she pulls a Velma from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, she looks like Velma, doesn't she?
She drops her glasses.
Yeah, of course, zombies or whatever step
on the glasses.
Smashed.
Yeah.
And she falls.
Well, she turns to face her attackers, which I thought was ballsy.
Right. Well, I think she was kind of at the end of a little ledge there because she falls back.
Yeah.
And hits her head and basically goes unconscious. And this is where we learn that all those zombies are her quote unquote friends. Macy the angel and the other kids.
Yeah. And Schrader says, "Oh shit." Yeah. And someone asks, "Is she dead?"
Schrader, he's a good kid.
Yeah, he was trying to take care of her. And then Rhonda wakes up and she screams because they still look like the zombies, Yeah.
Schrader tells her it's all a joke, a stupid joke.
Well, she takes off, I think. And he calls to her.
Yeah, they do. They all call her. Rhonda.
They take off their masks, and I wrote assholes. And it's just a trick. It's a bad joke. Schrader's saying that now.
Yeah. And then they hear children's voices. Other children.
Well, Rhonda's crying, and Schrader's trying to comfort her.
Yeah. And Schrader tells Macy to go pick up all the shit and let's go back home. This is over.
And the pirate tries to help Rhonda too, but Macy won't let him. Blocks her way. So Macy she's the bitch of the story, and she plays it well.
Cute little girl, though.
And Macy kicks a lit pumpkin into the lake.
And that was her undoing, I would say.
Yeah. And then the little kid asks, if this was a trick, why is the bus there? Because the bus is in the water. They see it there.
She tells him it's all true. Story's true.
And asks what happened to the bus driver. And then they hear kids laughing. And then back up to Rhonda and Schrader, and they hear all the kids screaming below. But they think it's a joke.
And Rhonda leaves them.
Well, Macy says they have to go, and they see the kids coming towards them.
Yeah.
Which is freaky. And they all run. And the kids have their chains. So they're whipping the kid.
Yes.
Today kids are getting, what do you call
dragged,
that one? Yeah, they wrap the chain. The chain wraps around their feet and they're dragging them. And Rhonda's inside the elevator, protected by the jack-o'-lanterns.
Correct.
And they get to the elevator.
They say, "Let me in, let us in, let us in. This isn't a joke. This isn't a joke. Let us in, please." And
she has the key in her hand.
And she pushes the up button.
Yeah, and she leaves them there.
Leaves them there.
But I made a note that it's a very cool visual as she comes up the elevator alone with the jack-o'-lantern. It's very cool.
And then Sam is there waiting for her.
Well, she hears them being ripped apart. It's pretty gross what you hear down there. And Sam comes towards her in his burlap sack, and he's wearing an orange onesie and a burlap sack. And this is where, is she protected because she has a jack-o'-lantern, or does he know her somehow?
No, she's just protected because she has a jack-o'-lantern, or
lit.
She's smart.
Okay. Well, she leaves with the wagon and the jack-o'-lantern.
Sam just they just kind of look at each other, give an acknowledging nod or whatever. And
yeah, I just didn't know.
Away. She didn't break any Halloween rules.
I see.
So she and Sam are one and the same, kind of.
He's the enforcer.
He is.
Gotcha.
And that is the end of the Halloween bus massacre story.
That one was sad all around Because even though Schrader did participate, he also did protect her.
One story left, Karen.
Okay. This one does a time hop because it says earlier.
Earlier, yes.
Yeah.
And we're going to call this one Krieg.
Okay.
That's the old man's name. And it does tie into the Halloween bus massacre as well.
Yeah, which I didn't know at first. But you get that sense almost immediately, though, because it's a very creepy house he lives in, a not well-maintained house.
Yes, so then we see some trick-or-treaters, not the trick-or-treaters from the Halloween bus massacre. These are like a bunch of clowns, right? Three clowns. They're at an old man's house, and a dog with glowing eyes chases them away.
Yeah, which is genius because they drop their candy bags, so he picks them up.
And the old man steals their candy.
Yes.
But it's just Spike. It's just the little dog Spike that we've already seen, right? With a mask on or some shit.
But I thought he was a hellhound or something because he's got glowing eyes, but it's a costume basically that he puts on the dog to get the kids to drop their candy. But he's burning photos
in a fireplace
of the special needs kids in their costumes.
You got that immediately?
Yeah, I could see the kids. I'm still traumatized from that story. So
then he sits at the TV and he's flipping channels with his first generation remote.
Right. And he's eating the candy.
Eating the candy. Yeah.
But he spits it out. So I don't know if something was wrong with it or what.
Yeah, I think they might have already been to the principal's house.
Oh, is that what it was? Gotcha. Well, he knew something didn't taste right.
Yeah. So and nothing's on TV except Halloween shit or horror movies or an infomercial. So he settles on the infomercial.
Well, and he does see the reporter from earlier covering the parade.
He does.
So that's how it kind of connects in here too. He sees the news report on it. But yeah, he does settle on the infomercial.
And then we hear Spike barking.
Yeah, he starts growling and barking.
And the old man grabs a bat. And we are in the middle of the scene we saw earlier, once again, when the principal was burying the kid, right?
Yeah, because Spike runs outside. And I do make a note that Mr. Krieg has lung disease.
Yeah,
because this dude can't breathe. Yeah. So Spike gets out, and this is where it time hops a little bit back to where the principal was digging in his yard and he throws the finger to the dog. It replays that scene, but from Mr. Krieg's perspective. Yeah. Instead of the principal's. So we're revisiting that.
And they go back inside and Spike starts barking at the front door.
Right.
And Krieg opens the front door and all of a sudden he's got jack-o'-lanterns all over his front yard, all lit up.
Yeah, it's kind of cool actually, but not for Mr. Krieg. But it looks cool.
Krieg. Yeah, I would like that if someone would do that to my house.
I know, just show up.
That'd be awesome. Save me a lot of time.
Right.
Getting too old for that shit.
Never.
I am.
No, you're not. Because then I am, and I refuse to accept it.
Then Spike starts barking at something upstairs.
Yeah, do you hear footsteps up there or something? Yeah, okay.
And the old man grabs his shotgun from above his fireplace. Just like he said earlier, he's got an NRA membership card in his pocket and a shotgun above his fireplace.
Right. He was telling the truth.
He was. So Spike runs upstairs, and then we hear Spike yelp, which is never good.
Well, you see Sam run across the top of the stairs and a light explodes. And then I wrote, is Spike no more?
Yeah, he's probably gone.
We
don't see him again.
I know. I was not happy about that. But Mr. Krieg has a little bit of humanity because he goes to find his dog. He doesn't stay downstairs. He goes upstairs to look for his dog.
Yeah. He goes upstairs, goes into his bedroom.
Which is a disaster.
Yeah. It's perfectly in line with the rest of his house.
True.
But there's something moving under the covers of his bed. And he pulls back the covers, and it's one of those battery-operated hands that walk.
Yes.
Like the Thing hand, right?
Yeah.
From Addams Family.
An animatronic hand.
And then
a jack-o'-lantern lights up.
Right.
With a huge flame.
Blaze. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the room lights up, and there's like trick-or-treat shit written all over his walls and his ceiling.
Is it written in blood? It's red.
It's red.
Yeah, I don't know.
It might be Spike's blood, Karen.
Stop. It's not Spike's blood. We're not going to go there. Greg's just being
trick or treat. Give me something good to eat. Painted all over the room.
Yes.
And then Sam slices the old man's leg from under the bed.
Right in the Achilles, man. with a candy bar, obviously gotten from the principals.
I originally thought it was the Achilles. I think it's a
Is
little
it not?
high.
Oh, that's what it seemed like to
This
me.
time watching it, I thought it was a little high.
Okay, my bad. Because if they slice that, you can't
With
really
a
walk.
Candy bar with a
Yeah, that's what I said. From the
razor blade
principal,
in it. It's
from the principal's house.
it's a box cutting
Right.
blade, right?
It
A
is.
blade from a box cutter. That's what it is, really. It's not like a razor blade you would shave with.
Oh, that's true. And Mr. Krieg asks, "Who the hell are you?" And Sam just stands there and peels a candy bar down like a banana to reveal the box cutter. So the old guy, Mr. Krieg, shoots the jack-o'-lantern with the shotgun.
Yes, the flaming jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah. And Sam disappears for a minute, right? Or at least I thought he did.
And the old man goes out in the hall, starts to go downstairs. And Sam,
He does go downstairs.
did Sam get him before he goes downstairs at the top of the stairs?
No, it's covered in glass
Right,
and
okay.
candy.
Right.
So he trips, he
Yes.
slips on
the
it's
landing, the top landing and
marbles
all the stairs all the way down, and at the bottom of the stairs is covered with candy and those box cutter blades
and glass too.
and glass. Yeah.
So he basically slips
He
and
falls.
goes down. Yeah.
Falls down the stairs. Yeah. And he's all cut up.
His hands are all cut up for
Yeah.
sure.
He tries to unlock all the locks on his door because he's got like 7 of them, right?
Right.
And Sam is on the ceiling above him.
Not for long.
Yeah. And I did make a note that Sam looks a lot larger in these scenes.
Well, it's probably the stunt double, right?
Yeah, the stunt
'Cause
guy was a lot larger than the kid.
Sam drops from the ceiling.
Drops from the
onto-
ceiling, and they fight and everything. And then we see once again the scene we saw earlier, only from the old man's point of view, where he was knocking on the window to the principal saying help, right?
Right. He was able to throw Sam off of him, and then he gets to the window and he's banging, and his windows have bars on them.
They do.
Yeah. So he's trying to keep something out of his house because he's got like 6 locks on the door. All his windows have bars on them.
Yep.
But yeah, Sam tackles him.
Yeah. And then Sam takes off his mask.
Sam doesn't take off his mask. Well, I thought Mr. Krieg ripped off the mask.
Could have been. I mean, I wasn't paying that much attention at this point.
Yeah,
honestly.
Mr. Krieg rips off his mask, but who is it? I don't know who it is. I thought at first it was the vampire kid from the bus.
No,
But it's
Karen,
not.
He's his own thing. It's a little pumpkin-headed creature.
Yeah, wearing a onesie with a little butt,
Pumpkin-headed creature is what
with
he
a
is.
little butt flap in the back.
He is. And he bites the old man's leg. Sam does.
Yes.
And the old man pulls his shotgun and shoots Sam right in the head.
Yeah, it's quite the
Knocks him
explosion.
across the room.
It's the pumpkin explosion, and he does slide across the room and come to rest at a wall. He's
Yeah.
stunned for sure.
Yeah. Old man gets up, grabs his gun, shoots him again in the chest, and pumpkin guts shoot out.
Yeah. He shoots him twice, right?
Yeah.
In the
Well, it's a
head.
double barrel shotgun. He's got 2
Okay,
shots.
there you go.
So he's out. He's done.
They show that too.
Yes.
Oh, but in a minute.
Yeah.
Because he gets to the old rotary phone.
And he dials 911. So it's 9
Yeah.
1 1
Yes.
Hello, 911. What's your emergency?
Well, first they tell him to hold, and then they connect. And when he's trying to explain what's happening, the phone is disconnected. The
Oh.
wire's ripped out of the wall.
Is that what happens?
Yeah. They show the wire.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was or if Sam's hand pushed the button to hang up.
No, he rips the wire out of the wall.
Okay,
And then you hear what I thought was footsteps.
but
Like
it's
pitter
Sam's
patter
hand.
patter. It is. It's Sam's hand. Just his disconnected hand.
Those are my fingers. This is Sam.
Yeah. His hand is alive, and the guy's out of ammo.
Yep, he got no more shells in his shotgun. He opens it and looks. Oh, too bad.
And the hand goes over to Sam
And taps
and
him on
pokes
the
him.
leg.
Yeah. It's like, wake up. And
And
then it reattaches.
Reattaches. And then Sam puts his burlap mask back on. And he has a jack-o'-lantern lollipop in his hand.
Yeah, he takes out a sucker. It's a big sucker.
A big.
And he's eating the sucker as he
takes
walks.
a bite of it.
Yeah. As he walks towards the old man.
So it's kind of pointed now after he's taken a bite out of it.
And Mr. Krieg tries to defend himself. It's got a jagged edge. It was a
Yes.
circle. He takes a big bite and now it's very jagged. But Mr. Krieg breaks a bottle to try to defend himself.
Correct.
But Sam just breaks his arm.
And Sam goes to stab the old man with the big ass lollipop,
The jagged sucker. Yes.
but it hits a candy bar instead. The old man is saved by a candy bar.
Yeah, because amazingly, Sam just leaves with the candy.
Yeah. Sam takes the candy, takes a bite, looks at the old man, looks back, looks at the old man. I think Sam has made his point at this point, right? Don't you think?
I guess.
He has. And Sam leaves him.
He leaves Mr. Krieg's place
But-
and they move to the fireplace. The camera shows the fireplace and it's a photo of the bus driver and the kids burning.
So we're pretty sure now that Mr. Krieg was the bus driver, right?
Yes.
And then it says later,
Yes.
right? Like in the comic font, later. The kids are knocking at the door, trick or treating.
It's 3 little pigs
Yes.
at the door. So kind of staying with the fairy tale theme a little bit.
Yeah. He answers the door and he gives them all a handful of candy. The last kid says, "Great mummy costume."
Yeah, because he's all bandaged up from
Yeah, he's got his head in wrapped around and his arms in a sling, and he's pretty messed up.
he's bandaged all his wounds.
Yes. And he's standing there on his front porch and he sees the couple from the beginning of the film across the street from him, right?
Well, before that, he looks over to the neighbor's house. Did you see that? And the son is dressed in his dad's bloody clothes
Handing out
And he's-
candy.
and he's handing out candy.
Yes.
So you know that legacy is going to continue.
Yes.
And then he sees Rhonda coming home,
yeah. And the
and-
girls in the car, the
almost hit Rhonda.
werewolf girls.
Yes.
So we're back at the beginning of the movie at this point.
Yeah, because
Right.
the couple arrives home and blows out the jack-o'-lantern
And Sam is standing across the street.
with his sucker ready to go.
Yeah. And the old man goes back into his house,
Yeah, so the whole story's come full circle now, and I thought it was over.
but it's not, is it, Karen?
No, it's not.
There's a knock at the door. More trick-or-treaters, we assume.
Yep,
Old man opens the door, and it's the kids from the bus.
it is. And Mr. Krieg has very big eyes.
And then we cut to comics of him being killed, more or less,
That's what it looked like.
and credits.
The end.
Yep.
I have questions.
All right. Let's handle your questions
Well,
first.
I think because it ended on this with the kids from the bus showing up at his house. And in the pictures that are being burned in the fireplace, the kids are in the same costumes that they
Yes.
were in, and he's a young man. So why did it take them this long to come back and kill him? Because obviously this Halloween thing is a big deal in that town and it's been happening for years and years. Or is that why he has 6 locks and bars on his windows? Does this
Could
happen
be.
does this happen every year and he's fended them off until now? Or
Don't know. I
Why
can't
would you
answer
ever-
those questions, Karen?
why would you ever answer the door?
Can't answer
know?
those questions. Could be. Could be. That's all I
And
can
who's
say.
the other body in the principal's grave? I was like, what happened there? Who was that? But
Principal's a serial killer.
true.
He's got bodies buried all over his yard, I guarantee.
That's probably true.
I know it's true.
Ting.
Any other questions?
No, that's all right. Well, okay, I have one more question.
Okay.
Which one is your favorite?
Which story?
Yeah, which story of the,
I don't know.
or which one had the best twist for you, or which, I guess when
know.
you've seen it as many times as you have, it's hard to say.
I think I like Anna Becomes a Woman. It's my favorite. I think.
That was a good twist.
I like the principal one too, but I think that one's my favorite. I don't, like you said, the Halloween bus massacre. I just hate those. It's a sad story, and it's not.
It's just horrible all around.
Yep, not good.
Yeah, I think
But I do like the old man getting his
comeuppance.
at the end. Yeah.
But why did they let him live that long?
According to Macy, no one knows what happened to the bus driver. He's been living in
Incognito?
incognito. Yes, because I can't say that other word. In the same town which doesn't make sense to me ever since.
No, and you want to live in this town where people obviously are dying left and right on Halloween. The Emma died, the vampire killed the girl, the kid died. If this has been happening every year, why would you ever go to this town?
No one said it was happening every year.
You said he was a serial killer. So are the
Principal
werewolves
was.
are the werewolves traveling from town to town?
Yeah, they said they were in like Mexico last year or New Orleans, and they travel from town to town every Halloween.
Okay. But the bus driver has lived in the same
He has.
town and he's never had anybody attack him. Well,
Yeah,
we don't know.
Didn't make sense to me. I mean, maybe he changed his name. I don't know.
And the serial killer has lived in the same town.
The principal, yeah.
Which he's a principal at the school, which also makes me think he killed his wife.
Maybe.
Because at one point he's making fun of his son saying, I wish mommy was still alive.
Yeah.
But I guess serial killers live in towns. So,
They do. They're Boy Scout leaders, Girl Scout leaders.
Okay.
They're just normal everyday people until you find out they're serial killers. Serial killers.
I was going to say, you can't say serial. They're so quiet. That's what they always say, right? They're so quiet.
Quiet, kept to themselves.
Yep.
Except when they were out doing the Lord's work. Any other questions?
No.
All right, Karen. Anything you were pleasantly surprised by in this film?
I was pleasantly surprised by the whole film. I didn't expect it to be that good. Well, to be honest, I'd never heard of it before you talked about it. I'd never heard of it. And
before you were taking pictures of my Sam prop and saying, what is
Yeah.
that? And I was like, you don't know who Sam is?
Yes. And I'm a pretty big Halloween movie person. Again, I like the classics, so I don't watch a lot of the new ones. And so it was pretty new, so I would have skipped over it because of that. But I just didn't expect it to be as good as it was.
Okay.
It had a lot of twists and turns and things that I didn't expect. And I was wrong about a lot of things when I was watching it,
Have you not paid attention to anything I've told you?
I try not to.
Because I kind of get a feeling that anyone asks me about this film or whenever it comes up in conversation, I've even given it to people and say, here, take this home and watch it.
Well, you never gave it to me.
Anything else?
No, I mean, I just thought it was good. I thought the special effects were good. I thought the stories, they all made you feel what you were supposed to feel. The twists were really good. A lot of times in those films, you already know kind of what's going to happen. And you didn't really know in this one. You could guess, sort of, but I thought it was good. What about you? Do you have anything that disappoints you in this movie?
Like any other movie, the more you watch it, the more you see things that like, well, if the budget was a little bigger, they could have done this or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but
The werewolves were pretty mediocre.
really? I thought they were pretty good.
No, they weren't really.
I guess I only watched the old werewolf movies, so to me it was okay.
I mean, the transformation things were pretty cool. Once they transform, they're pretty like puppety.
Oh.
And the more I watch it, the more I notice that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like the wolves aren't very realistic, but it is what it is.
I didn't think it was bad.
I know, but if you watch it every year, you will. In about 10 years, you'll say,
okay,
those werewolves, they look like puppets. And Sam, like today, I noticed like, oh, Sam looks a lot bigger there when he's a stunt double.
Yeah, you have the luxury of nitpicking because you know what's happening.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have to pay attention to what's happening as much as,
Here's something that it may have taken me 10 years to realize is that the principal was the guy that Anna brought to the party.
What? You didn't know he was the vampire?
Yeah. When I saw that, I'm like, wait a minute, that's the principal today. And I'm not sure I ever like put that together. I'm sure maybe I forgot. I don't know.
You must have forgot.
I must have forgot. I've forgotten a lot of things. I'm sure.
It happens.
I didn't remember that he was the vampire dude. I did not remember that.
Yeah, I thought that was a separate story developing because he did sound like a demon. I mean, I thought he was a real vampire.
He tells his son earlier
That he has a date.
he has a date.
Yeah.
So, but not the date he thought he had, I'm sure.
Well, he had multiple dates.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for disappointed in. Anything you were disappointed in? You didn't even ask me if I was surprised by anything, pleasantly surprised. Or
You've
anything
seen
I
it
liked.
10 times. It'd be hard for you to be surprised or, at this point, except you just admitted you were surprised it was the principal.
I was. I guess I forgot. Those brain cells didn't make it a year.
10 years.
What about you? Anything disappointed? Anything you didn't like?
Just
Didn't make
the
sense.
the questions that I had. I was a little lost of a few. Like, why didn't the kids come back and kill him immediately?
Oh, maybe it's because this was the first year that Mace the Angel brought the other kids down there.
Kick
to
the jack-o'-lantern
awake them.
in. Yeah, kick the jack-o'-lantern into the water.
And this may have been the first year that Sam visited the town on Halloween. Maybe Sam travels from town to town. Who knows?
Well, that's what I mean. I would like to know more, I guess. But
So you're saying sequel?
there obviously there could be a sequel in any town, right?
Yes, there could be.
I do love a sequel setup.
If only the movie studios would get their heads out of their asses, that would happen.
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't in the theater. I mean, did something happen? Was there a school bus accident that was nationally known or something? A lot of times when they shelve something like this, it's because, you know what I mean? Something's happened that's too close to home and they don't want to fan the flames of anything.
No, I think during October of 2007.
Was there another movie?
Yes. I think they didn't want to compete with another Halloween or another Friday the 13th or whatever, something else they didn't want to compete with. And then they pushed it back and then they kept pushing it back. And then
it's hard to release it at almost at any other time of year. You have to release it.
Yeah, it has to be a Halloween film.
Yeah. So if you push it back, you're already another year into it. Yeah.
Right. Saw. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Saw 4.
You can't compete with Saw 4.
That's what I've read or heard or whatever. They didn't want to compete with Saw 4, which was the number 3 total gross in that month.
Interesting. Okay.
So yeah. So then they push it back a year, and then I don't know something happened then. Like I said, then the studio changed leadership, and I don't know. Someone didn't want this movie in the theaters. That's all I know. So for whatever reason, it's fucking stupid as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, you could release this every Halloween.
Well, at this point, sure.
All right, Karen, what cocktail rating are we giving this film?
No, I give it at least a 2.
Oh, I'm giving it a 1 for sure.
All right. Well, I don't think I have any say then.
It's a 1 cocktail. I think we gave Psycho half a cocktail.
Yeah.
We can give this one a 1.
Okay. I won't fight you on it.
Yeah, I'll do what I want anyway.
Oh, big talker, Betty Crocker.
So what about our cocktail, Karen? Comments on our drink?
It's good. I liked it.
It gets better the more I drink it.
Well, that tends to happen.
Now it's more apple cidery than whiskey to me. And I'm almost to the end.
Yeah, you're killing it.
Usually I'm done by now.
I know you're slipping. You're not the man you used to be.
Anything we learned today? I don't think there is.
We did learn some Halloween facts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We learned a lit jack-o'-lantern will protect you.
You're supposed to keep them lit all night.
Until after midnight, they say.
Yeah.
That the veil
protect
between
you from the evil, from the spirits, because the veil between the living and dead is
very thin. Yes.
During Halloween, Samhain,
we learned that. I didn't know the thing about jack-o'-lanterns till after midnight. I'd not heard that before.
Is she supposed to leave them lit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Supposed to check your candy.
Well, yes, that. But as far as the lore is
concerned, go to the houses of strangers.
Which everyone totally does.
Well, yeah.
Well, we didn't, but we were isolated in that
little island
yeah.
between the two busy highways.
Yeah. So we just circled around multiple times.
Anything else we learned?
That this was your favorite Halloween movie.
It is. And it's usually on I think they play it on somewhere. It's on every Halloween.
I'm sure it should be.
It should be, but I watch it every Halloween regardless.
Oh, you have the DVD?
Yes, I do. It's in a Blockbuster clamshell, Karen.
What
And
does
it
that mean?
says-
It's stolen?
It says previously viewed, $14.99. So when the Blockbuster and up by the Home Depot,
On 28?
yes, was closing, I went in there and bought it.
Is that the only one you bought?
I don't think so. That's when I bought it. It might have been before it was closing. I might have gone in there just to buy it. Just
Yeah, sometimes they sold them when they were
they did $14.99. What'd you pay for this film, Karen, to watch it?
$2.99.
$2.99 plus tax, so $3.14.
Pie.
I bought it for $14.99.
And you've probably watched it
10 times.
at least 10 times. So you paid less.
Okay.
About
Good.
half of what I paid.
Woohoo!
Yay, you.
I'm a bargain hunter.
You would have paid $32.99 for that movie.
When it was new, I would have.
Yeah.
I think I rented it the first time I watched it.
Well, you had to.
Yeah, you had to.
You said it went straight to video,
Straight to
right?
video, yeah. And then I bought it. Anything else, Karen? Upcoming
No,
movie?
it's just happy October because, here we go.
Oh my God, it's October already.
Our favorite time of the year.
Oh my God, it's very stressful for me. But anyway, so I believe next movie is your choice.
It is.
And
Would you like me to tell you what it is, or do you want to guess?
yes, please.
I'm going
So
to
I know what to
choose
watch.
the 1931 version of Dracula.
Hang on, 1931, you say?
Yeah.
Dracula.
This was one of my mom's favorites.
with Bela Lugosi, right?
Yep.
Well, luckily I have that on video too.
As you should,
Why might you have chosen this film, Karen?
because
'Cause
vampires
vampires
are
are
cool. Well, and as I started to say, this was another one of my mom's favorites, and I did enjoy watching it with her. Even if we were long distance, we would call and talk about it when it was on. So she loved this time of year, and so whenever I watch it, I think about her. Not that I don't think about her other times, but it's a special time of year.
Do we have a cocktail?
We do.
Go on.
We're going with the Bat Bite drink, and you're going to need vodka,
Okay.
blood orange soda, pomegranate juice.
Hold on. So I don't have any blood orange soda, but I do have some blood orange beer. Would that work?
I'm not sure.
All right. Pomegranate. Yep.
Sparkling water.
Is that like
I think if you can get, well,
that's like seltzer water?
I guess so, yeah. And we're some fresh
So we should
limes.
use non-alcoholic seltzer water.
Well, maybe you could find pomegranate seltzer, alcoholic seltzer water. But yes,
Okay.
just regular old, unless you want to give it some oomph.
Okay.
And that's it. Did you get the fresh limes?
Oh, no, I didn't. For a garnish.
I'm not sure. I just closed it.
Fresh limes, I would say, was usually for a garnish.
No, but it says 2 limes squeezed, and it just says combined all ingredients in your punch bowl. So, but yeah, they do have a lime wheel on the glass with some black,
But it's also squeezed.
with some black sugar on the rim.
So I need black sugar too.
If you want, but I don't think you need that.
And I need like something to rim the glass with black sugar.
Well, you can rim it with red if you want. We know how to do that.
How about if I don't want to rim it at all? Will that be okay?
It'll be boring, but it'll be okay.
So I assume you've seen this movie before, Karen, right?
Yes, I have.
You ever seen the Mexican version?
No.
Okay. I've heard
But
it's
I was
better.
looking through my bookshelves, and I thought for sure I had not an original copy, but the book Dracula, and I can't find it. I was going to read it to see if I could point out differences, and I shouldn't say I don't have one. I couldn't find one.
Probably find one at half price books pretty cheap.
I know. You probably have one that you bought at half price books, don't you?
No, I don't. I have a copy of Frankenstein only because my son read it in high school, but that's it. I never read it.
I don't think I've read it either.
Books. Who reads books?
I do. I like books.
I do too. All right, Karen, anything else we need to cover?
No, we don't. We're going to thank people.
Yeah. Anyone to thank?
I want to thank Mariah for leaving us a fine review on Apple Podcasts. It always helps us to
Mariah. Writing it
to
down.
get
Mariah.
it helps us
Adding her to my Christmas list.
Yes, she gets a card.
Mariah.
It helps people find us, and it helps us find people who might enjoy our podcast. So we appreciate every review. And Mariah left us a good one, so that we appreciate even more.
Thank you, Mariah. Anyone else we need to thank?
Probably, but I can't remember who. Who are you going to thank?
Well, I have to thank Verse 13, like I always do, for letting us use their music in the podcast.
Do they know we're using their music?
They know.
Okay. Then extra thanks to them. And see, we're not breaking the law.
No, we have
This time.
their permission.
Is there a link in the show notes?
It is.
Excellent. Well, now that it's October, I think everyone should go listen to Verse 13. Do they have a website, or
Yeah. Well,
is it verse13.com?
no, it's a Bandcamp site, I believe, where you can download their music.
So that's in the show notes.
Yes.
I'm just saying it's great music for your haunted yard or your Halloween party, or it's October now. You got to start planning these things.
Yes. Yes.
So
yes,
check them
you
out.
do.
They've got your creepy music covered.
All right. Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.